What is fatigue? It's that persistent tiredness that never seems to fade. It's the unexplained weariness, even when you've spent a day doing absolutely nothing.
Look, I was tired all the time.
I'd nap about 2 hours a day, and now I don't nap at all. I can't believe I can wake up in the morning. That's never happened to me in my whole life.
Perhaps you awaken from an 8-hour rest, yet you're still drained. Maybe you realize your efficiency at work or home has dropped. Day-to-day tasks might feel incredibly daunting. Why is this? A near 2-year pandemic might be one reason. Social upheavals, climate change, and political instability don't alleviate matters. But looking beyond these global events, there's a personal aspect. We are self-inflicting this fatigue. What do I imply? Let's journey back in time. Evolutionarily speaking, we've barely progressed from our nomadic lifestyles. Historically, we were wanderers in tight-knit bands, constantly moving, foraging, and living from one day to the next. No one lingered in one spot long, and feasts were rare luxuries. On the occasion they occurred, people consumed all they could, not knowing when the next meal would be. Fast forward. Our genetic memory thinks we're still roaming savannas, scrounging for food. This is why you might devour a tub of ice cream, despite its ill effects. Your body wants to hoard resources. When the agricultural era dawned and we became settlers, our consumption exceeded our needs. And therein lies the root issue. We've shifted from eating once a day when food was found to consuming 3 daily meals. On some occasions, this includes evening and midnight nibbles mixed in. The typical American's eating duration spans 15 hours, meaning they commence eating upon awakening and finish right before sleeping. It wouldn't be a concern if we effectively burned the food or consumed nutrition akin to our forefathers. Our system struggles with today's food digestion, hindering energy extraction. Consuming excessive modern food fills us but offers little benefits. The resulting weight increase impacts life quality. Obesity correlates with sleep ailments like narcolepsy. Additionally, heightened inflammation results in hypertension, diabetes, body regulation disruptions, and notably, fatigue. This inflammation injures various body organs, demanding repair energy it's not receiving. This relentless cycle persists. But shouldn't food, in general, give us the energy to work? Well, eating lowers something called Orexin, which is a neuropeptide that regulates wakefulness and appetite. The more you eat, the lower your Orexin goes. The result? The more exhausted and unmotivated you feel. Interestingly, there are only about 10 to 20,000 neurons that produce Orexin in our brains. Orexin is released throughout the brain to affect certain behaviors. Primarily, this means regulating behavior needed for survival, sleep-wake regulation, mating, and yes, also food intake. However, in certain regions of your brain, Orexin promotes seeking and taking rewards. These rewards can include alcohol, food, sugar, and nicotine. The neuropeptide, in turn, is stimulated by exposure to these substances and creates a positive feedback loop. Basically, the orexin receptor involved in your thrill-seeking behavior is dependent on the part of your brain that is encouraging it. It's analogous to parents encouraging a particular type of behavior. If you get negative feedback after breaking a window, you're unlikely to do it again. But if you get positive feedback for getting good grades, you're motivated to keep doing the thing that made them, and ultimately you, happy. This action promotes the abuse of the neuropeptide. Consequently, you continue seeking food that will activate that positive feedback loop. And as you consume more food than your body needs, you feel tired. A study published in the International Review of Neurobiology proves that orexin neurons indeed champion food-seeking behaviors. Interestingly, before these neurons initiate food seeking, there's a phase of elevated focus. Orexin levels rise notably after fasting periods between 42 to 72 hours. If one maintains a regular eating schedule, these neurons gear up just before mealtime, indicating increased alertness. However, the surge of glucose post-eating reduces this activity. In essence, orexin thrives when glucose is sparse and drops when it's abundant. This doesn't mean we need to adopt strict fasting or massively cut food portions. Such drastic actions might harm our health. Rather, it's about making informed choices. Consume foods that stabilize orexin levels, ensuring prolonged alertness over fatigue. To achieve this, it's wise to reduce foods that rapidly convert into glucose, with carbs being the primary items to watch. By understanding these dynamics, we can make dietary choices that not only satisfy our hunger, but also optimize our brain's functioning, keeping us alert, focused, and ready for our daily challenges.
There's something wrong with the way we're eating. And what's wrong is that we're eating way too many carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are basically poisonous.
When carbs break down, they become glucose, powering your body. Consuming carbs causes a surge in blood sugar, leading to insulin release, which channels this glucose into cells for energy storage. After a duration, blood sugar levels stabilize. If you consume carbs beyond what your body can process, insulin spikes, resulting in increased hunger, anxiety, and indeed fatigue. This process stresses the body, and to counteract it, it releases cortisol. This hormone extracts glucose from the cells, elevating blood sugar again. If it's an occasional event, it's manageable. Yet, if it's a routine, happening multiple times daily, the consistent cortisol release, a stress hormone, induces fatigue. Almost half our dietary intake is carb-based, encompassing refined and unrefined types. Naturally unrefined carbs encompass fruits, veggies, and grains, whereas refined ones cover white sugar, fruit syrups, and milled grain. Predominantly, we lean towards refined carbs nowadays: pastries, fancy breads, processed foods. Historically, our predecessors didn't consume such items. They likely sourced roughly 30% of their energy from unrefined carbs, while a typical American today gets about 50% of their caloric intake from all carbs, 20% more than our genetic forebears, and often from less wholesome sources. However, it's not an absolute that carb consumption ensures constant drowsiness. Take bodybuilders. They intake considerable carbs but aren't typically seen as sluggish. This is largely because they balance with protein. Proteins, intriguingly, counteract the effects of carbs by boosting orexin levels in your brain. In a significant finding, scientists at the University of Cambridge pinpointed that amino acids, abundant in proteins like egg whites, actually temper the negative effects of glucose on orexin receptors. By integrating proteins with your carbohydrate intake, the sensation of tiredness might be less prominent. Beyond choosing the right food groups, the timing of your meals also holds considerable significance. Eating just an hour before bedtime can adversely impact your sleep quality, since the body is preoccupied with digestion and energy conversion. Moreover, incorporating a consistent physical activity regimen is equally essential. Simple activities, such as a daily walk for 30 minutes or indulging in a swim, can be highly beneficial. There isn't an obligatory need to embark on rigorous exercises or weightlifting unless it aligns with your preference. Starting might appear challenging, especially when grappling with issues like pronounced fatigue or weight concerns. Yet, even a modest walking routine can usher in noticeable improvements in mental clarity and energy levels over time. Always prioritize seeking medical counsel before initiating any new dietary habits or workout plans. Based on individual factors like your routine physical activity, prevalent energy levels, weight profile, and extent of fatigue, a gradual commencement might be advisable. At times, it's prudent to enlist the assistance of a fitness trainer at the outset until you gain enough confidence to navigate on your own. With continued commitment, the journey becomes more manageable. While initial progress might seem incremental, the cumulative benefits become pronounced with sustained consistency. If this discourse resonated with you, we invite you to engage further with our content. Subscribing ensures you remain updated, and activating notifications ensures timely content delivery. I appreciate your attention, and thank you for engaging.